Now, let's get into our first debate. Would Suella Braverman be a better Prime Minister than Rishi Sunak? 0207 862 2222 is the number. Do give us a call. Former Home Secretary Suella Braverman has denied trying to oust Prime Minister Rishi Sunak by spreading poison in the Tory party. The Conservative Party chairman, Richard Holden, has said it would be insanity to get rid of the current Prime Minister before the next election. This comes after Immigration Minister Robert Jenrick resigned on Wednesday over the new Prime Minister's Rwanda bill. Sunak has defended the bill, but former Home Secretary Suella Braverman has said the new Rwanda deal would not stop the Channel crossing. So, would Suella do a better job? Can she bring down the figures and stop the boats in the way that Sunak promised? Ben, I've been waiting to hear from you. Genuinely, as soon as this came up, I thought, where on earth would Ben be on this?
Yeah.
I mean, is it something that could ever draw you back to the Tory party?
Into the Conservative Party?
Having somebody like Suella in charge?
Yeah, so, I mean, I think the story that's really where... The story we're watching unfold is the Conservative Party inability to hold together what it used to describe as a broad church and what I would describe as a divided church. The Conservative Party claims that it's, welcome to all views. It's got its one nation Tories who are basically, I regard as Liberal Democrats. And then you have a much smaller faction of which Suella is probably part, which is sort of centre-right, small c Conservative, low taxation, deregulate, all that kind of thing, which is where I am, broadly speaking. Not broadly speaking, that's where I am. And what we've seen over the last 7-8 years with the Conservative Party is repeatedly that schism being pulled apart. And we saw it in spades under Theresa May. David Cameron held it together quite well. Then we saw it in spades under Theresa May. Boris Johnson came along, promised all things to all people, delivered nothing. And he held it together with a kind of sticky plaster with the promises he made. But as the country then faced the difficulties of COVID, the challenges of Brexit, and then, of course, the very severe challenges of coming out of lockdowns with inflation rampant, a war in Ukraine, now we've got a war in the Middle East, cost of living crisis, public sector broken. With all these challenges, the division in the Tory party is now being utterly revealed.
I mean, with respect, aren't you part of that tearing apart? You left the party rather than tolerating people with different views to your own. You decided to leave and be on, in a different party and effectively contributing to that fragmentation.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think that I don't think the Conservative Party is an honest party. It doesn't seek to promote. It doesn't have an ideology which it seeks to promote. What it wishes to have is power for power's sake. And we've seen it fail in its governance repeatedly over the last 13 years. And we have all the evidence of its failure. For example, national debt at a post-World War II high, taxes at a post-World War II high.
Is Suella the solution to that? It sounds like you agree with the vast majority of what she says.
So my view is the reason that Western democracies, and we're not alone in this, are suffering such high debt levels, such high taxation levels. It's the same across Europe, same in the United States of America. The reason we've got these massive debt levels is because the state has increasingly intervened in the way we live our lives. The state has come to see itself as not the guardian of the private sector, but as an alternative to the private sector. And we are becoming more and more progressively socialist.
OK, well, I tell you what, before we come to you, Nelufar, and we will.
Sorry. This is a bit of a...
We've gone into geopolitics here, but, I just wonder whether people have much more, concerns that are much closer to home, that actually they see...
Well, I mean, I think...
as part... I'm just going to... What we're going to do, Ben, we will come back to both of you, but I want to take a call first because we've got plenty of calls on this subject. First, Linda in Kent. Do you think Suella would do a better job than Sunak? What do you think?
Well, no, I don't, personally. I think we should give him more of a chance. I'm a little bit fed up with this. Let's change it. I don't like this one. He's not very charismatic, so let's bring somebody else in. I did say to your researcher, I think a lot of people, including myself, are watching too much reality television. He's not very he's not got much of a personality, so we'll get rid of him. Let's vote him out. It's a bit like this inquiry at the moment. It's like a soap opera, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean...
nothing's taken very seriously anymore. We look at Rishi, and some people might not think he's got much of a personality. I don't agree. I think he's probably doing a pretty good job. But they say, he's not got much of a personality. Well, I don't care whether he's got a personality. I just want somebody to sort things out. I don't want another Boris, buffling around.
I think, Nelufar, a lot of us are tired of change, certainly, but that doesn't necessarily mean that somebody wouldn't do a better job if they were given the chance.
I'll answer Linda's point very directly. The person you're speaking of, the Prime Minister Rishi Sunak, has the lowest favourability ratings of anyone in his party, certainly in his cabinet. Okay, this man is not only unpopular within the Tory party, he's unpopular with the public. Let's put some numbers to this. So this whole thing is coming because Suella Braverman has made several comments suggesting that he is at least wishy-washy or he's delinquent in his application of the Rwanda policy. I want to talk about the numbers just for 1 second so we have a full idea of what we're talking about. This policy is likely to cost us £500 million.
The Rwanda policy?
Yes.
Yeah. Because
there's 290 million, including the 50 million that we're going to spend next year. There's another 220 million that we are going to put into the Economic and Transformation and Integration Fund. And this is for the prosperity and the economic development of Rwanda. Then we're going to add another 20 million just onto the end of that bill to pay for and facilitate for the initial setup costs. You're talking about a man who's so cavalier with the budget.
Quite right.
He's so cavalier with the way that we behave. He has no understanding of what the British people need. And this, for me, is the biggest red herring we've ever seen. He's trying to wave a flag here so you don't look at the burning house over there.
I think Nelufar is absolutely spot on, if I may say so.
We have very early agreement on our panel. I want to try and take some more calls and just find out what people are thinking out there. Jill's in Cornwall. Jill, tell me, would you think that Suella would do a better job than Rishi Sunak right now?
Yes. It's got nothing to do with personality. It's strength of character I'm looking for. I'm looking for someone who will do what they say they will do, regardless of whether or not we necessarily like it. I just feel that she has the right attitude towards immigration, the country, spending and what have you, and she seems to have the courage to stand up and say it and carry it out if she was given a chance. And unfortunately, Rishi comes across as a bit weak.
Jill, one thing I'm wondering is, what do we actually know what she thinks about anything apart from immigration and Rwanda? Once again, we are looking at a possible potential leader for our country. That's what we're talking about here today. And we're fixating on one thing,
yes,
as we did with Boris for Brexit and his strength of character to get that done. And now we're looking at somebody else and saying...
I like that, though. Each individual minister doesn't seem to be very au fait with anything outside of the department that they deal with. And even Rishi doesn't seem to have any sort of clout or thinking when it comes to, say, education or spending, or he doesn't. I'm sorry, but I would like someone who is strong enough and focused enough to pick the right ministers to deal with the departments that need looking after, and then work together, get everyone to work together.
The problem is, though, Jill, what you're talking about is someone that unites a party, that brings people together. And the way that Ben is talking about it is that this is someone who is divisive, who will drive another wedge through the party that's in charge of the country at the moment. Just going to take Jill first.
Yeah.
That's being said about her simply because she is a strong character. Anyone that's prepared to stand up and say what they think and what they want to do is going to invoke someone telling you that they're decisive, they're divisive, and they just want to stir up trouble. I cannot tell you how much I'm concerned about the party and the country and the options that we have if this government fails. And so I want someone who will drive forward with their determination to do something and sort something out.
Okay. Jill, we've got lots of calls coming in. I want to try and take as many as we can before we come back to you guys. Diane's in Yorkshire. Do you think that Suella Braverman would make a better Prime Minister, a better leader of the Tory party than Rishi Sunak?
Absolutely not. She is, unless we want the country to be run by a female version of a Tin Man, because she has absolutely no heart. Everything she does is negative, it's punitive, it's, I don't like this, so I'm going to punish you for that. And like you said a minute ago, we don't know what else she's interested in. Just immigration. When Priti Patel was Home Secretary, she was Attorney General. She presumably passed her eyes over that law, didn't get through. Then she became Home Secretary.
I mean,
she adjusted the law. It didn't get through. So she's not even good at a job. And she was a lawyer before she became an MP.
Diane, I just want to turn to Nelufar because the truth is we don't know very much about Suella Braverman. We know some very interesting things. She's a practicing Buddhist. People that work with her say she's kind, she's intelligent. You know, this sometimes conflicts with what we're seeing, some of the policies that she backs.
Yes, the question at the heart of this debate is whether she would be a better leader for the Tory party and a better Prime Minister. And the answer is, without any shadow of a doubt, no. She doesn't have a mandate. She will not be able to gather the party in that umbrella party sense that you were mentioning, Ben. She doesn't have the support of the British public. She's a divisive person. And I want to say this, for the people calling in who are saying, you know, you want someone who expresses what they think and they're strong in their mind. You're talking about a strong man. We've seen what happens in America, in Hungary, in Russia, when strong men or women take charge and control and enforce or inflict what they believe on the public. Britain needs a reset. We need common sense and democracy to prevail. We need an opposition and a leading parliament who have the support of their own party at least. And you cannot, Ben, in good faith, say that she will have the full support of her party if she gets power.
I would say the Conservative Party is all well and good as a governing party if there's not much governance to provide, because it doesn't have an ideology. So as long as the economy is doing all right and world events are kind of stable, they're fine as a governing party. But the minute they get tested, and they've been really tested in the last few years, they're incapable of governing. And I don't think anyone could lead that party right now where the United Kingdom is, because the United Kingdom is in crisis. And the United Kingdom needs, as you say, a reset. We may disagree on what that reset is.
Yes.
But we absolutely need a reset.
She is not the reset that we need.
Well, listen, no doubt Rishi Sunak is in a perilous situation at the moment. It's tricky.
He's politically toast. He's finished.
Well, that remains to be...